the distant planet of Lyria, where the sky shimmered in shades of purple and green, the city of Nalor bustled with life. Alien creatures of all shapes and sizes moved through the streets, trading, laughing, and whispering secrets to one another. But in the quiet corners of the city, far away from the bright lights and colorful markets, a dark secret was unfolding. In a tall, silver tower that reached into the clouds, a woman named Lyra paced nervously, her hands shaking as she held a data crystal. The crystal contained the details of a deal that could change her life forever. She had made promises she could never take back. Promises to human traders from the distant Earth sector. Humans were rare in Lyria, creatures from a faraway world that many trusted but some feared, and Lyra saw them as her chance for wealth and power. Her daughter, a small alien girl with silvery eyes and glowing hair, played quietly in the corner of the room. She was unaware of the storm about to touch her life. The girl hummed a soft tune, her voice like a whisper of the wind. Her name was Arya, the princess of Lyria, though she did not yet know it herself. Lyra's heart pounded as the humans entered the tower. Their tall forms and strange metal suits made a low hum as they moved. They bowed politely, but their eyes were sharp and calculating. "Are you ready to deliver the child?" one human asked, his voice calm, almost too calm. Lyra swallowed hard, her mind racing. She nodded slowly. "Yes, she is ready," she said, trying to sound certain, though a part of her felt a strange tug in her chest, a feeling she could not name, a warning she could not ignore. Arya tilted her head, sensing tension in the room. Her small hands clutched a glowing toy and her silvery eyes met her mother's. "Mother, why do they look at me like that?" she asked softly. Her voice carried a gentle innocence that made the humans pause. The tallest human stepped forward and smiled. "Do not be afraid, little one. You are very special, and we only wish to protect you." His words sounded kind, but there was an edge of greed hidden beneath them. Lyra's hands trembled as she knelt down beside Arya. "You must go with them." "My child," she whispered. Her voice shook, and her eyes darted to Arya's, searching for a sign of understanding. But Arya's innocent gaze held a quiet strength, as if she could feel more than Lyra had ever realized. Suddenly, a spark of defiance flickered in Arya's eyes. She stepped closer to her mother and whispered, almost like a secret, "Take me instead." The humans froze. Shocked by the words, Lyra's mouth opened, but no sound came out. How could a small child speak with such courage and clarity? The air seemed to grow heavy with tension. Every creature in the room could feel it. A silent power radiated from the little princess, one that made the humans take a step back. Lyra's mind raced, confusion and anger mixed with fear. She had made a deal, a plan, and yet here was her daughter, defying fate with a whisper, "Take me instead." The humans looked at one another, unsure, their leader's brow furrowed, and he stepped closer. "Are you sure, little one?" he asked, his voice soft, almost questioning. But there was no doubt in his heart that he wanted to claim her. Arya nodded slightly, her tiny hands clenched into fists. "Yes," she whispered. Her voice was small, but it carried a strength that made the room tremble. Lyra's face twisted in anger. "No, this is not what we agreed," she shouted. Her words echoed in the silent tower. But Arya did not back down. She looked straight at her mother, her eyes shining with determination. Outside the tower, the city of Nalor continued, unaware of the drama unfolding inside. Traders shouted, children laughed, and the wind carried scents of strange foods and distant oceans. But inside the silver tower, destiny was shifting, and a young princess was about to change everything. Arya's whisper hung in the air, a simple phrase, yet it was more powerful than any weapon. "Take me instead." It was a choice, a declaration, and a warning. She would not be a pawn, she would not be a prize. She would choose her own fate. The humans studied her, sensing something beyond ordinary. A glow surrounded her, subtle but undeniable, and they realized that this child was no ordinary alien. She was special, more than they had ever imagined. Lyra sank into a chair, her hands covering her face. She had made a deal with humans, but her daughter's courage had thrown it into chaos. The princess had chosen her own path, and Lyra could do nothing but watch. As the humans whispered among themselves, Arya took a deep breath, her small chest rising with determination. She would not be sold, she would not be taken. She would find her own destiny, and the adventure was only beginning. The silver light of Lyria's twin moons spilled across the quiet city streets, casting long shadows over the towers and alleys. The city seemed calm, but inside the tallest tower, the air was thick with tension and unease. After the shocking words of the young princess, the humans and Lyra were unsure what to do next. Arya stood tall despite her small size, her silvery hair glowing faintly in the moonlight. Her eyes, wide with courage, reflected the fear and anger of her mother. "Take me instead," she had whispered. And now those words hung in the room like a promise, like a challenge. The human leader, a tall man with a metallic voice module that made him sound both powerful and strange, stepped closer, observing her carefully. "Little one," he said softly, almost coaxing, "do you really understand what you are asking?" His eyes narrowed, but a hint of respect flickered in them. Arya nodded slowly, her small hands clenched. "I know," she said, her voice quiet but steady. "I will not go with her. I will choose my own path." Lyra's face twisted with disbelief and fury. "You dare defy me?" she hissed, her hands shaking with anger. "After all I have done for you, after all the deals I made." Arya took a small step forward, ignoring the fear curling in her chest. "Mother," she whispered, "I am not your possession. I am not a deal. I am me." Her words were soft, but they carried a weight that even the humans could feel. The humans exchanged glances, whispering among themselves in a language that Arya could not understand. But she sensed their curiosity, their surprise, and even a small amount of admiration. The tallest human, the one who had first spoken to her, knelt down slightly, bringing his face closer to hers. "You are brave, little one," he said. "Most children would not dare say such things." Arya lifted her chin, pride mingling with fear. "I am not most children," she said simply, her eyes glowing faintly as a small pulse of energy escaped her fingers. Lighting the floor with a soft shimmer, the humans froze, startled by the display. And Lyra gasped, realizing that her daughter's power was far greater than she had ever imagined. For a moment, the room was silent except for the soft hum of the tower's energy fields. Arya's small form seemed to grow taller in their eyes. Though she did not change in size, the humans understood something important, something Lyra had ignored for too long. This child was not just a princess, she was a force, a being capable of choosing her own destiny. Lyra's voice broke the silence, trembling with fear and anger. "You will not escape me. Arya, I made a deal and you will obey me," she shouted. Her words echoed against the tall silver walls, but they sounded hollow compared to the quiet power in Arya's presence. Arya stood firm, her small chest rising as she drew a slow breath. "I will not obey," she said, her voice steady and unyielding. "I will not be taken. I will not be sold. I will choose." The tallest human nodded slowly, signaling to his companions to wait. Their eyes remained on Arya, wary but intrigued. They saw in her something rare, a courage that went beyond fear, a strength that even adults would struggle to hold. Lyra's hands flew to her face, her mind racing. She had imagined the humans taking Arya away, yes, but never like this. Never with her daughter standing in front of them. Unafraid and unshaken, she realized that her plan was falling apart, and nothing she had done could change that now. Arya's small voice cut through the tension, soft but firm. "I will not go with her. I will not be a prize. I will not be a pawn." Each word carried a small spark of energy that lit the floor beneath her. And even the humans could not hide their surprise at the quiet power of her conviction. Outside the tower, the wind whispered through the streets of Nalor, carrying the sounds of distant traffic and faint laughter. But inside, the drama of a young princess choosing her own fate had begun, and the humans who had come to take her found themselves paused, unsure how to respond to a child who refused to be controlled. Lyra's face was pale, her anger now mixed with fear. "Do you not understand, child?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I can still make you obey me." Arya shook her head slowly, her silver hair swaying. "No," she whispered. "I will not be controlled. I'm my own." Her tiny hands glowed with a soft light. And the human stepped back, sensing the power in her words for the first time. Lyra realized that this was no ordinary child. This was a princess who would shape her own destiny, a being who could defy even the most powerful humans and the mother who had tried to sell her. The room was filled with tension, anticipation, and awe, and it was clear to everyone that this was only the beginning of Arya's journey. And as the moonlight spilled across the floor, Arya whispered again, almost to herself, "I will choose my own path," a simple phrase, yet it carried the weight of a new beginning, a spark that would ignite a story far greater than anyone could imagine. The first light of dawn painted the city of Nalor in soft shades of gold and violet. The streets were quiet, yet the tower where Arya stood hummed with tension and fear. The humans had not left, and Lyra's anger had only grown stronger after her daughter's defiance. Arya paced slowly across the room, her small hands brushing over the glowing walls of the tower. Her mind raced as she thought of the humans, the deal her mother had made, and the dangerous path she now faced. She could not stay here. Not with humans and her mother plotting to take her. She needed to act, and she needed to act fast. Suddenly, the tallest human stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Little one, there is no need to run. Come with us willingly and no one will be hurt." Arya shook her head, her silver hair shimmering in the morning light. "I will not go, I will not be taken," she said quietly. Her small voice carried a strength that surprised even the humans. Lyra's face twisted in rage. "Do you hear me, Arya? You will obey me, or there will be consequences," she shouted. Her words echoed against the walls. Sharp and threatening, Arya's eyes narrowed, and she clenched her fists. A faint glow began to surround her small body. Lighting the floor beneath her, she could feel her powers stirring, waiting to be used, and for the first time, she realized how much she had grown. With a sudden burst of courage, Arya leaped toward the window. Her hands pressed against the smooth glass, and with a small pulse of energy, the glass melted away like liquid silver, leaving a hole just big enough for her to slip through. The humans gasped, taking a cautious step back, unsure what they were seeing. Without hesitation, Arya dropped from the tower, landing gracefully on the soft grass below. Her small body glowed faintly, and she ran toward the alleyways. Weaving through the shadows of the city, the humans quickly followed, their boots pounding against the ground, their energy weapons humming with danger. Lyra shouted from the tower, "Stop her! Bring her back now." Her voice was full of fear and anger. But Arya did not look back. She had made her choice, and there was no turning back. The streets of Nalor blurred past her as she ran. Arya's small form dodged crates, carts, and curious citizens who stopped and stared. Some whispered about the brave little princess defying humans, while others moved aside in fear. The city was alive with energy, but for Arya, every moment was a step closer to freedom. A narrow alley appeared ahead, and she ducked inside, her heart pounding. Her hands glowed with a faint light as she prepared to defend herself if needed. The humans were close, their shadows stretching along the walls, but Arya was clever, quick, and determined. She reached the edge of the city and saw the forests beyond. Dark trees twisted under the morning light, but they promised safety. She sprinted toward them, dodging the humans' attempts to grab her. Her small body moved like wind, agile and fearless. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed behind her, the hum of a human device scanning for life. Arya leaped over a fallen log, her small hands glowing, creating a shield that deflected the scanning beam. The humans froze for a moment, surprised by her growing powers. Lyra's voice carried faintly through the trees, calling her name, full of frustration and fear. "Arya, come back, you belong to me." But Arya ignored her, her focus on survival and freedom. Every step took her further from the tower and closer to the unknown, to a world where she could choose her own destiny. The trees grew taller, their shadows thick and mysterious. But Arya felt safe here, her heart calm despite the chase. She knew the humans would not stop easily, but she had a plan, a clever trick she had thought of while pacing in the tower. She reached a narrow stream cutting through the forest, her silver hair glowing faintly in the water's reflection, and with a deep breath she whispered a small command, sending a pulse of energy into the stream. The water rose, creating a barrier that slowed the humans. Making them stumble and hesitate, Arya ran faster, her small legs carrying her deeper into the forest. The morning sun pierced through the trees, lighting her path. Each step filled her with hope, courage, and determination. She was no longer a child waiting to be sold. She was a princess taking control of her destiny. Behind her, the humans regrouped, murmuring and planning their next move. They realized that capturing Arya would not be easy. She was clever, fast, and strong in ways they had not expected, and somewhere in the distance Lyra's voice faded, replaced by the whispers of the wind through the trees. Arya paused for a moment, looking back toward the city she had escaped. A small smile appeared on her lips, her silver eyes shining with confidence. The chase had only just begun, but she had proven something important. She would not be a pawn. She would not be a prize. She would choose her own path, and this was only the beginning of her adventure. The forest stretched endlessly, ancient trees twisting high into the sky. Their leaves shimmered with silver light, and soft mist curled around the roots like a gentle fog. Arya ran through the shadows, her small feet barely making a sound. Every rustle of the leaves made her alert. Every snap of a branch sent a shiver down her spine. She had escaped the city, but she knew the humans would not give up easily. Their energy scanners and tracking devices were powerful, and they would follow her if they could. But the forest held secrets old and magical that few knew, and Arya intended to use them. As she moved deeper, the air felt cooler, cleaner, and alive with strange sounds. Tiny glowing insects darted past her, and strange plants whispered in languages she did not know. Her silver eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the magical energy of the forest. She felt a calmness settle over her, a sense that she was not alone, that the forest was protecting her. Arya remembered stories her grandmother had whispered about a hidden sanctuary deep in the forest, a place where ancient creatures lived, where power and knowledge could be found. She had never believed them as a child, but now, running from danger, she hoped they were true. A soft hum echoed from above, and Arya looked up to see luminous vines hanging from the trees, forming patterns like symbols. She touched one carefully and it shifted slightly. As if acknowledging her presence, the forest seemed to guide her, opening paths that had been hidden for centuries. Behind her, distant shouts and the hum of tracking devices reminded her that the humans were still coming. But Arya did not panic. She focused on the path, letting the forest guide her through narrow trails and over fallen logs. Through trickling streams and misty clearings, she moved silently. A shadow among shadows, finally, she reached a clearing unlike any she had seen before. The trees arched high, forming a natural dome. Their silver leaves shimmered, creating a soft light that bathed the area in a calm glow. In the center, a pool of water reflected the sky, perfectly still, and around it strange stone structures hummed with ancient energy. Arya approached cautiously, sensing a protective force in the clearing. She knelt beside the pool, gazing at her reflection, her silvery hair blending with the light. "This place is alive," she whispered. Her fingers brushed the water, and ripples spread across the surface, distorting her reflection, but showing glimpses of strange symbols hidden beneath. Suddenly, movement in the shadows made her freeze. A figure stepped forward, tall and cloaked, with glowing eyes that shone like the forest itself. "Who are you?" Arya asked, her voice small but firm. Her hands glowed faintly, ready to defend herself if needed. The figure tilted its head, a soft voice emerging from beneath the hood. "I am a guardian of this sanctuary," it said. "Few outsiders find this place, and fewer still are allowed to stay. Why have you come here, little princess?" Arya swallowed, unsure how to answer. "I am running," she said finally. "Humans and even my mother want to take me. I need a place to be safe." The guardian studied her, silent for a long moment, then it nodded slowly. "The forest has chosen you, as it has chosen many before. You are strong, brave, and clever. That is why the sanctuary opens its doors to you. For now." Arya felt a rush of relief, but also a deep sense of responsibility. She was safe. But the sanctuary was not just a hiding place, it was a test, a place to learn, to grow. And to understand her powers, she knelt beside the stones, touching the glowing symbols, feeling energy pulse through her, teaching her things she could not yet understand. Outside the clearing, distant voices grew louder. The humans were near, searching, scanning, desperate to find her. But the sanctuary's energy created illusions and barriers. Hiding her from their sight, Arya realized she had more than courage and speed. She had allies in the magic of the forest itself. The guardian spoke again. "You will be safe here for a time, but you must learn quickly, princess. For the world outside does not wait, danger follows, and those who chase you will not give up easily." Arya nodded, determination filling her small frame. "I understand," she whispered. "I will learn and I will be ready." Her silver eyes glowed brighter as she rose, feeling the power of the sanctuary flow through her, guiding her, protecting her as the sun rose higher, casting beams through the canopy. Arya took her first steps into the heart of the sanctuary. Her journey had only begun, and she knew the forest held secrets, challenges, and allies, waiting for her to discover them, and in that moment, she felt something she had never felt before, a small flicker of hope, courage, and belonging. The humans would search, her mother would demand. But Arya was no longer just a child to be taken. She was a princess, a force, and the hidden sanctuary had chosen her as its own. The adventure, the learning, and the trials lay ahead, and she was ready to face them all. The hidden sanctuary was quiet, yet the peace was fragile. The soft hum of glowing stones and the gentle rustle of silver leaves filled the air. But beyond the forest, in the open fields and winding roads leading from Nalore, humans moved with purpose. Their leader, the tall man with the metallic voice, was determined to find the runaway princess. He held a small device no larger than his hand, but powerful beyond measure, a tracker designed to detect life signs, energy pulses, and even magical signatures. He pressed a button and a faint green light appeared. Scanning the air, scanning the land, searching for the faintest trace of Arya. She must be close, he said to his companions. His voice calm, but there was a sharp edge to it. His eyes flicked to the device, noting a tiny pulse of energy. Faint but distinct, it came from the sanctuary, the same place Arya had fled to. Meanwhile, inside the sanctuary, Arya practiced quietly, her small hands glowing as she manipulated the energy around her. She could feel the pulse of the forest, the magic beneath her feet, and the soft guidance of the guardian. But something felt wrong, a small prickling at the back of her mind. As if someone was watching, she paused and lifted her head, her silver eyes scanning the trees. The light of the sanctuary did not reach far, but she sensed movement, a presence outside the protective barriers. Her heart quickened, not with fear but with awareness. She was ready, yet she knew she could not underestimate her pursuers. The human tracker approached the edge of the forest, his device humming louder. The pulse of Arya's energy grew stronger, more concentrated, drawing him forward. "She is here," he whispered, almost to himself, his eyes narrowing with determination. The princess cannot hide forever. Arya felt it then, a strange vibration in the air. The rhythm of the tracker's scanning device. She ducked behind a glowing vine, her small body blending with the mist. Her mind raced for a plan. She could not let him find her, not yet. Not until she understood her powers fully. The tracker stepped into the clearing, unaware of the illusions and subtle traps the sanctuary had set. His boots pressed against the soft moss, crunching faintly, and Arya held her breath, letting the magic of the sanctuary hide her presence. But the device pulsed stronger, detecting the energy she could not fully conceal. She whispered a command to the vines, and they shifted, curling and twisting to form barriers, hiding paths and creating false trails. The human stumbled, confused by the sudden obstacles. He looked around, frustrated, realizing that the forest itself was against him, and that the princess was cleverer than he had imagined. Arya crept closer, her small feet silent, her hands glowing faintly, ready to defend if needed. She wanted to test him, to see how much he knew, how dangerous he could be. The tracker's eyes scanned, his device beeping, and he muttered under his breath, "She's stronger than expected. I need to be careful." Suddenly a soft sound echoed through the clearing, a faint whisper of energy moving through the trees. Arya turned, her instincts sharp, and her glowing hands ready. The human froze, sensing that he was no longer alone, that the little princess was near, watching, waiting for the perfect moment. He pressed a button on his device, and a small drone hovered above the trees, scanning, searching for life signs. Arya's eyes narrowed, and she whispered to the forest again. The branches above shifted, creating shadows that confused the drone, hiding her from its sensors. The tracker cursed. Frustrated by the disappearing signals, Arya stepped forward from her hiding place, her silver hair glowing, her small hands lifted slightly. A faint pulse of energy radiated from her, powerful enough to make the humans step back. Their tracker device beeped wildly, unable to handle the sudden energy surge. "You cannot find me," she whispered, her voice soft but confident. "I am protected." The humans hesitated, unsure how to respond to a child who wielded power far beyond what they had expected. Their eyes widened as they realized that capturing Arya would be more dangerous than they had imagined. The Guardian watched silently from the shadows, its glowing eyes calm, knowing that Arya was learning, growing and testing her limits. She had survived the city, she had escaped the tower, and now she had outsmarted a human tracker, proving that courage and cleverness were her greatest weapons. The human leader stepped back, realizing the forest and the child had defeated him for now. He muttered to his companions, "Retreat, for now," but his eyes burned with determination, and his mind raced with plans for the next encounter. Arya could sense it, the pursuit would continue, and the danger was far from over. As the tracker retreated, the sanctuary settled once more, glowing softly. The forest whispered around Arya, welcoming her, guiding her, and teaching her. She took a deep breath, feeling the strength she had gained. She had survived again, and with each challenge, she grew stronger, smarter, braver. The adventure was far from over, but Arya knew one thing clearly. She would not be captured, she would not be controlled. She would choose her path, and no human, not even the tracker, could stop her. The hidden sanctuary was alive with soft glowing lights and the hum of ancient energy. Arya moved cautiously, her silver eyes scanning the trees. She felt the calm of the forest, yet a deep tension lingered. Something told her the humans and her mother were coming closer. Their presence was heavy, sharp, like the chill before a storm. Suddenly the forest trembled faintly, and Arya froze. A shadow moved among the trees. Tall and familiar Lyra, her mother, stepped forward, her face pale and twisted with anger, her hands clenched tightly, her voice sharp as steel. "Arya! You dared defy me again?" she shouted. The words echoed across the sanctuary. Frightening yet thrilling, Arya stood her ground, her small body glowing faintly. She did not flinch, she did not step back. "I will not go with you, Mother," she whispered, her voice calm, but every word carried power and courage. "I am not your property. I am my own." Lyra's face turned red with fury. "You will obey me. Do you understand? Obey or face the consequences," she screamed. Her hands glowed slightly, showing she had some control over energy too, but Arya could sense her mother's fear beneath the anger. From the shadows, the human leader appeared, his eyes sharp and calculating. "Princess," he said, "it is foolish to fight alone. Let us take her together, Mother." Lyra hesitated, her anger clashing with a strange fear. She knew that Arya had grown stronger than she had imagined. The humans, too, seemed cautious, sensing the energy that flowed through the little princess. Arya's silver glow shimmered brighter, her small hands rising slowly, and the forest around her responded, branches twisting protectively, stones glowing with power. "You cannot take her," Arya said softly, yet every word vibrated with energy. The human leader took a cautious step forward, his scanning device humming, but it could not penetrate the forest's protective magic. Lyra's anger boiled over, but she stayed back, sensing that this confrontation was unlike any she had faced before. Arya's heart pounded, but she felt no fear, only clarity, determination, and courage. She remembered the Guardian's words, the magic of the sanctuary, and her own growing powers. "I will not be a pawn. I will not be a prize," she whispered. And with that, a pulse of energy spread outward, pushing the humans back slightly, making them stumble. Lyra's voice rose, shaking with fury and panic. "You think you are strong? You are just a child. I made you. I can control you," she screamed. Her energy collided with Arya's faint glow, creating sparks that lit the sanctuary in brief flashes of silver and gold. Arya stepped forward, small but fearless, her hands glowing brighter. "I am not yours. I choose," she shouted. The forest seemed to roar in response, vines shifting, stones glowing, and the air humming with power. The humans froze, realizing that capturing her would not be simple, and even Lyra's confidence faltered. The human leader tried again, speaking calmly. "Little one, this is not necessary. Come willingly, and no one will be harmed." Arya shook her head slowly, her hair shimmering like silver fire. "I will not come willingly. I will not go with anyone who tries to take me by force," she said, her voice steady, her energy rising, creating a faint shield that kept the humans at a distance. Lyra's eyes widened in shock and anger. You are stronger than I ever imagined," she whispered, a hint of fear breaking through her fury. Arya smiled faintly, not cruelly, but with pride and determination. She had proven herself. She had shown that courage, cleverness, and belief in oneself could overcome even the greatest threats. The human leader stepped back, signaling his companions to wait. Their plan was failing. The little princess was far more powerful than they had expected, and the magic of the sanctuary protected her. "Retreat for now," he said softly, almost reluctantly, knowing the next attempt would require much more planning. Lyra's shoulders slumped slightly, her anger now mixed with awe. She realized that Arya was no ordinary child, that she had grown beyond the control of anyone, even a mother who had tried to sell her. Arya's silver glow dimmed slightly as she relaxed, the tension in her small body easing. The guardian emerged from the shadows, its glowing eyes calm and steady. "You have faced your past and stood your ground. Princess," it said softly, "remember this strength, for the challenges ahead will not be easier." Arya nodded, feeling a warmth in her heart, courage in her chest, and a small spark of hope. The confrontation had tested her, shown her limits and her strengths, and proven that she could protect herself. She was not alone. The sanctuary had chosen her, guided her, and the forest had taught her. As Lyra and the humans retreated, the forest returned to calm. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying Arya's silver glow across the clearing. She stood tall, small yet powerful, knowing that her journey was far from over. But for the first time, she felt she could face whatever came next, ready, brave, and free. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the sanctuary, and in that quiet, powerful moment Arya whispered softly to herself, "I am my own and I will never be taken." A statement, a promise, and a warning. The adventure was only beginning, and the challenges ahead would shape her destiny even further. The sun rose high above the hidden sanctuary, spilling golden light over the silver leaves and glowing stones. Arya stood in the center of the clearing, her small body calm but her heart full of purpose. The events of the past days weighed on her. The escape, the confrontation with her mother, the chase by humans, but she knew that her next step would define her future. The forest hummed softly around her as if encouraging her, guiding her. The guardian emerged from the shadows, its glowing eyes watching her carefully. "Princess, you have shown courage and wisdom beyond your years," it said. "But now you must choose your path. You can no longer hide. The world awaits you." Arya looked around the sanctuary, her silver eyes reflecting the soft light. The pool of water shimmered, the stones glowed faintly, and the air seemed alive with ancient energy. She had learned much here, the ways of the forest, the whispers of the wind, the strength of her own powers, but she understood that true freedom meant leaving this sanctuary. Venturing into the unknown, her thoughts drifted to her mother, Lyra, who had tried to control her, who had betrayed her in pursuit of wealth and power. Arya's small hands clenched slightly, not with anger, but with resolve. She would not allow anyone to dictate her life. She would make her own choices, her own destiny far beyond the sanctuary. The humans were regrouping, plotting their next move. Their leader had retreated, but he would return, and Lyra's anger would not fade easily. Arya knew she had to act before danger found her again. She had to be clever, brave, and bold. The forest had taught her that. Taking a deep breath, Arya stepped to the edge of the clearing, her glowing hands brushing over the soft moss. She whispered a command to the sanctuary, and the vines shifted to form a protective barrier, hiding the paths she would take, creating illusions and obstacles for anyone who might follow. She looked toward the horizon, toward the distant lands where humans and other civilizations thrived, a world full of mystery, danger, and opportunity. Her silver hair glowed faintly in the morning light, and a small smile appeared on her lips. She felt ready, strong, and certain. "I will not be a prisoner," she whispered to herself, her voice soft but steady, carrying through the trees. "I will not be a prize, I will not be a pawn. I choose my path and no one can stop me." The guardian nodded silently, understanding the weight of her words. "Then go, princess, go with courage. And remember the lessons of this sanctuary. The forest will always guide you, even when you are far from it." Arya turned, taking her first steps out of the sanctuary, the soft glow of her hands lighting her way. Each step was deliberate, careful, yet full of confidence. She knew the forest would protect her for a time, but she also knew she could not remain hidden forever. The world outside waited, and she would face it head-on. Her mind flashed briefly to Lyra, and then to the humans who had chased her. But she did not feel fear or anger. She felt strength, clarity, and determination. She had survived the city, outsmarted the humans, and stood against her mother, proving she could make her own decisions. Now it was time to take the next step. The path ahead was unknown, winding through forests, mountains, and distant lands, but Arya welcomed the uncertainty. It was her adventure, her destiny, and she would not let anyone take it from her. She glanced back once toward the sanctuary, a soft glow shimmering in the trees, a reminder that she had a home, a place to return if needed. Her silver eyes focused on the horizon, and she whispered again, softly, almost to herself, "I am free, I am brave, and I will choose my own destiny." The The words carried through the forest, carried on the wind and echoed with power, a message to all who might try to stop her. The forest shifted subtly, opening a hidden path, showing her the way forward. Arya's small hands glowed brighter as she took her first confident steps into the unknown. The sun shone down, warming her face, and she felt hope, courage, and excitement, all flowing through her small body in the distance. She saw the first signs of life from the human cities, and she knew the world would test her, challenge her, and try to take her freedom. But Arya was ready. She was no longer just a princess to be sold, no longer a child to be controlled. She was a young force, clever, strong, and brave, capable of facing any challenge. With a deep breath, Arya stepped fully onto the path leading away from the sanctuary. Her silver glow shimmering with power, the wind whispered around her, the trees bent slightly in respect, and the world awaited her, a world of adventure, danger, and discovery. And as she walked forward, her small figure glowing in the morning light, she whispered one last time, her voice full of determination and hope, "This is my choice, my path, my life." And with that, the brave young princess disappeared into the horizon, ready to face whatever came next.